So it's been over years since I decided to take the leap and move across to the other side of the world. If you don't know me, my name is David and I moved to Canada from Australia, and here are 5 lessons I learned after living abroad for a year. The first lesson I wanted to talk about is the people. Canada is actually so diverse and I met a lot of people from different countries, and as I'm continuously meeting new people, it's allowed me to realize a few things. There's the people you grew up with who are your family or childhood friends. Then there's the people who you meet along the way. We are all aware that life isn't perfect. There are people you're gonna like and people you won't. Obviously, that goes the same for how people think about you. And if you're worried about the ones you don't get along with,
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, sweetheart.
Listen to the kids, seriously. I used to be a major people pleaser. I kinda still am, but I'm allowing myself to be selfish at times just for my own mental health. When you're in a new country, yes, it's nice to meet people, but it's a waste of time trying to get along with everyone you meet, especially if you're not a fan of them. There's always going to be, and what I call a rotten egg, in a lot of points in your life. It's always going to find a way to emit a nasty smell or negative thought. And the best thing you can do for yourself is to avoid cracking the egg open and having a disaster erupt. How? Just carefully put the egg in the trash without breaking it, and you won't have to deal with it anymore. Basically, avoid conflict and try to ignore the negativity they're producing. Don't waste your energy on debates with people who won't change. Just tell yourself, oop, rotten egg, better stay away from that one. But if they're always around, just be polite. You don't have to be nice. Lesson 2, culture. Culture shock is a real emotion. It's the feeling you get when you encounter something unfamiliar compared to what you're used to. Adapting to a new culture is a different story though. This ain't back in the days where people would be colonizing and forcing the locals to learn their ways. You're not a colonizer, alright? What I had to adapt was switching to the Canadian spelling, the metrics, and the tipping system. And honestly, I might get ahead on this, but I'm not a fan of the tipping culture. Don't get the wrong idea, I work in hospitality here. And in my opinion, it can get pretty toxic to your mind, and I feel like everyone should just be paid a decent wage. I was raised where tips would be given when someone's done a good job. In this kind of environment, you tend to produce negative thoughts about people who don't give you a decent tip or none at all. And if you're a customer paying the bill and the server's standing there right next to you, it kind of just feels like there's a mountain just towering over you. And you kind of just feel like pressure to tip to their standard despite what kind of experience you had. Speaking of environment, this kind of falls back onto the lesson about the people, and I did touch on this on one of my previous videos, but I want to talk about it more in depth. If you're like me, you're someone who depends on your friends to do certain activities, and your environment pretty much determines what kind of routine you have in your life. For example, if all your friends just party every weekend, then you'll most likely do that too. If they play sports, then you might be more motivated to do that. They could be foodies, artsy people. Basically, what I'm trying to say is the people you surround yourself with are your environment. If you can choose your friends, choose wisely. What I did was make a variety of friends. So I have people who I enjoy going out with, and there's others who prefer more wholesome activities. And for me, that's perfect because it's like balance. And how do you find your type of people if you move somewhere alone? First, you can ask your friends if they have anyone at your destination you can connect with. There's a bunch of Facebook groups and local events you can find off Instagram or TikTok. You know what you like, so do a quick search based off your hobbies and I'm sure you'll find someone similar to you. Trust me, no one is born to be alone in this world. Lesson 4, luck. I realized that good luck just can't happen naturally. It can only happen through opportunity. If you're just lying on your couch or bed, scrolling TikTok, binging Netflix all day, do you really think you're going to get lucky from something? Yeah, nah. There's always hate going around about someone who just got lucky. Like for example, after someone became viral after just one video. They took that opportunity to seize that moment. Another good example is winning the lottery. You can't get lucky and win the lotto if you never bought a ticket. I mentioned in my last video that I got lucky getting my full-time job after struggling to secure one after 8 months. What really happened was I just casually jumped on LinkedIn, scrolled down twice, and noticed that my company in Australia started hiring in Toronto. And I immediately saw an opportunity and jumped at it and messaged the hiring manager and asked for a quick chat. After a 30-minute casual interview, I got the job. And if it weren't for me going on LinkedIn during that day and time, I probably would still be without a full-time job in my industry to this day. But of course with life, there's always bad luck, which tends to happen randomly. These events we can't control, but what we can control is how we act towards these unforeseen circumstances. So tell me, do you think luck really just comes out of nowhere? Or does everything happen for a reason? Call it fate, superstition, or coincidence, I believe everything happens for a reason. The world works in a mysterious way, like how you bump into a friend at a random place you'll never expect to see them, or the random stories you hear about how people found love, like on a roller coaster or even on an online game. My life would have been different if I moved to Canada in 2020. Obviously, COVID postponed my transition, so I moved to a different state within Australia to gain independence. And man, it was such an eye-opener. I gained so much experience in that time and realized if I moved to Canada in 2020, I would have struggled really bad. And what's crazy is that a few of my close friends here are actually people that I met in America on my way to Toronto. And if it weren't for my good Australian friend Christina, who spent the summer last year here in Toronto, I wouldn't have met the other half of my friend circle because she met them at a nightclub. These friends have become my environment in Canada and helped me achieve what I had sought living abroad. To sum this lesson up, we can't always predict what's going to happen, and that's okay. Because most of the time, the things you don't really expect end up becoming a positive aspect in your life. Right here and now is a chapter where I'm meant to be in Canada. And honestly, I have no idea what next year has in store for me. It's kind of nerve-wracking, but also exciting in a way. So they're the 5 life lessons I've learned after living abroad and wanted to share with you all. You may or may not relate to it, and that's okay. We all have our own books to write and share in our own way. And I'm sure everyone doesn't like being spoiled in the story, right? So why do you need to know the ending to yours? Stay in the present. Trust me, I know it's hard. I'm working on it too. If you have experience living abroad, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Peace!